everybody, this is Heather Sides. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Spokane, Washington. And tonight I've got 3 new cards for you that I'm excited to share. Give me just a minute to get on the big screen here so I can make sure to see all of your comments. Let's see. And it looks like I am right up in your face, huh? Hey Jason, welcome. Thanks for joining me. Okay, let's see. So we'll give people a couple minutes to find me. I know I'm a couple minutes late getting on, so I just want to give people a chance to find me. So let's see, what have I had going on this week? Yesterday we started puppy kindergarten, and my dog was the perfect example to the entire class of how not to behave. All the other dogs were so well behaved and just sitting there politely, maybe jumping up a little bit on their owners here and there. Mine was having a total spaz attack and barking and just being an all-out nuisance. So, hey Marcy, welcome. So, yeah, it was a little bit embarrassing. He was the only one who was totally spazzing out like that. And then toward the end of the evening, we were in chairs right by I was in the chair, he was on the floor, right by this the door, and the door was open, and he's jumping all around and acting like he wanted to go outside and play, and I'm just holding him there, knowing class will be over in a few minutes. Well, apparently he wanted to go outside for a specific reason, because right before class was over, he peed all over the floor. And yeah, he was the only one who did that too. So I'm hoping next week goes a little bit better. We'll see. I still love him. Hey Kathy, welcome. So I don't have a whole lot to tell you about happening in my life. Like I said before, I don't live an incredibly exciting life. So that's part of why I enjoy doing what I do, because it gives me a chance to interact with other people, even if it is just online. So let's go ahead and get this camera turned around. Hey Robin, welcome. Get the camera turned around, go over a couple of little quick housekeeping things, then we'll do this week's drawing, and then we'll get going on our cards. How does that sound? Okay, give me just a second to turn the camera around. Okay, get this adjusted here. Let's see. Hey Kathy, welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. Okay, looks like I've got most of this in the screen. Let's see. So you should be able to see okay, I think. Put on my glasses here. Okay. So a couple things coming up. Of course, we've discussed before, and most of you already know, that we had our new annual catalog come out in May. There are some really great, really wonderful new products in here to check out. If you need a copy of it and you don't have a demonstrator that you already work with, I'd be happy to send you a copy of this catalog. You just need to let me know. And if I don't have your address, I just need you to send it to me. So thank you for all the hearts. I saw those. I appreciate that. Okay, so then the next thing coming up here, July 1st, our July through December mini catalog comes out. And, it advertises on the front Christmas because it does bring out our holiday line and all that good stuff. But I'm adjusting my camera a little bit again. But there's so much other stuff in here too. Halloween, fall, just some fun, pretty stuff. Lots of great stuff though in this little catalog. So same as the annual, if you would like a copy of it and you need me to send you one, just let me know. I'm happy to send it out. You can also go to my website, heathersides.stampinup.net, and you can view the products anytime there. Now, the mini catalog items won't be available on my website until July 1st, but I can certainly send you a catalog before that. So, Kathy, I'm glad that you got the notification too. Oh, you got your mini catalog today. Isn't it great? I saw demonstrators can see it online, and I saw it online, but that's never the same to me as, having it in my hot little hands and being able to look at it up close and personal. And mine came yesterday, and it was really nice to, really get a feel for what things looked like. So enjoy yours. Another thing happening, July and August is Celebration. And as you know, you're right, Jason, they never look the same. They always, they can look great when you look at them online. Kathy got hers today too. Things look great online, and I'm not complaining in any way about them, but they're like 1,000 times better when you see them in real life. Marcy says hers is already starting to fall apart. Hers is apparently very well loved. So let's see here. Anyway, Celebration starts July 1st, runs through August 31st. And if you're familiar with how Celebration works, you already know that this little brochure is filled with free stamps and paper and die cuts that you can earn for free with every $50 that you spend. You can get one of these gifts for free. Some of them you have to spend $100 to qualify for them, but you can get an unlimited number of items based on how much you spend. So it's a great time to stock up on these great free products that I know you're going to enjoy. They've got some really nice ones in here this time around. They always do, but some great ones in here. So that's coming up July 1st. And I can send you one of these little brochures too. So if you need one, let me know. Mary got hers today. Good. Let's see who else got theirs. I thought I saw Jason just got his. So everybody's just finally getting theirs. So enjoy. Yes, the celebration is so good this time, Marcy. I'm just going to say one word for those of you who haven't seen it. Hippos. I'm dying. I love the hippos. And I can't wait to get mine and use them. Okay, so now let's talk about our weekly drawing. So this week's drawing I have, the gift I have is let me see what it's called here, the Expressions in Ink Ephemera Pack. And you can't see it from here, but the flip side of these pieces of paper are gold. So you get all these great little shapes, but they're gold. And you can use the white too if you prefer that. But there's lots of neat little details to embellish your cards with. And then you can see there are these beautiful little iridescent sequins. I love these. Now, this little gift is retired, so you cannot buy them on my website anymore. If you are looking for a pack of them and don't have any, you're going to have a tough time. Yes, I love the hippos you guys are showing. I love them. Okay, so this week's winner goes to Robin McGarvey, and this is my thank you for supporting me with my business where I do these lives and I try to get people watching them. So I really appreciate your support. That Robin is here every week watching, and I really appreciate it. Yes, it was an amazing pack, Jason. I agree. So congratulations, Robin. Also, just following up, I've got 3 weekly gifts here that I just haven't heard back from the winners yet, and I need your address. So I've got some 2020 through 2022 in color square gems from Marcia Culibert. Marcia, when you hear this, I just need you to email me at stamphappenings@gmail.com, or you can send me a message here on Facebook with your address so I can mail these. Got this stamp set, Darling Donkeys. This was from Celebration about a year and a half ago. And this was to Colleen Fitzgerald Buttery. And I know she's on here most of the time. She just, sometimes she gets on a little bit later. So I hope, Colleen, that you get this notice and you're able to contact me with your mailing address. And then I also have for Tina Meadows, I have this great little pack of Oso Ombre paper. And Marcy, you're too funny. Marcy says she also goes by Colleen. Anyway, so Tina, you won this great pack of assorted colored ombre paper. I need your address as well. So if you guys could all send me your addresses, I would be happy to get these in the mail to you. All right, so let's go ahead and get going. The first card I have for you guys tonight, I used our Abstract Beauty Designer Series paper. I'm kind of sad to see this paper go. This paper came out in a new size they were trying out, and it was 4x6 sheets. And I loved it because it was just the perfect size for doing things with cards, and you don't end up with big scraps left over. And I just loved it. So I'm sad to see it go. And it was a lot of fun prints. So this is the card that we're going to make first. So let's see what all I've got for you. Of course, the card base is just a half of a sheet, 8.5 by 5.5. I'm sorry, I just got distracted by Jason's message on here. So Jason shall be moving forward known as Anastasia Beaverhausen. So Jason, I will do my best to remember. So yeah, we are losing a lot of great papers this time around, Marcy. And it's, you know, on one hand, I love that they retire the papers after 1 year because that means we get new ones every year. But I'm always so sad to see them go. Okay, so anyway, 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So that's our card base. And of course, I take my bone folder and just get a nice crisp edge there. Sometimes it's just best not to ask, Marcy. Okay, so let's do the envelope first. I've got my little strip. It's 2.5 inches by 6 inches. Use a little bit of my liquid glue here. Still a fairly new bottle, so I have to be careful because you don't have to squeeze it very hard to get a whole lot of glue out. And you really don't need a whole lot. So let's see here. Okay. And then I just want to make sure which side I used on my envelope flap here. Okay. And just trim off the extra. So what's everybody watching on TV these days? I'm totally going to look that up, Jason, because I'm very curious about it as well. As I've mentioned a few times, I'm watching all of the old episodes of The Love Boat, and it cracks me up because it's just so darn cheesy, and the women all talk in these breathy, sexy tones, and it just makes me laugh, like women really talk like that. Not this one anyway. Okay, so we'll set that aside to let the glue dry. Let's get going on our card. The first couple of layers actually, I was going to do the first couple layers glued on, but let's go ahead and do the inside of the card really quick. Get those little pieces out of the way before I lose them. So I have one very narrow strip here. It's 1/4 of an inch. And then I have, which one of these was bigger? I have a sheet of basic white. I lost my Seal Plus here for a moment. As you know, Seal Plus is my go-to adhesive. I use it for most everything, but if you follow me, you also know that I do use a lot of them. I just kind of interchange them all the time. And before I put that glue on, what I really should have done is put my little strip on. So let's take care of that first. And I just pulled out my silicone mat, and it's a really great tool for when you make a mistake like I just did, where I already put the adhesive on my piece of paper, but I'm not quite ready to glue it down yet. So I put it on my mat, and that way it doesn't stick when I want to go pull it up and pull it back up to put on my card. Okay, let's see here. Okay, now I'm just going to cut off these little excess bits. I like to, when I do little strips like this, I like to make them too long on purpose because then I can trim them down and make sure they're exactly the right length that I need. Okay, now let's go ahead and stick this inside the card. Got it right here. Give me just a second, my assistant wants in. Oh, game shows, that's a good idea. That's fun. I like a lot of the new game shows that are on these days. There's some really good ones. Okay, so now let's do the front, and I'm going to take, oh, of course I'm missing a piece. Hang on. Okay, so I have my pink, my piece of polished pink. I have basic white, and I'm going to go ahead and glue these down right now. If I can find my adhesive. Okay. Whoop, just throwing stuff around now. Okay, so I'm going to stick this one on here. Then I'm going to go ahead and stick the basic white one on. It doesn't have any stamping or anything like that. If you do have stamping to do on your piece, whatever piece you happen to be laying down, it's a good idea to stamp it before you glue it down, because if you make a mistake, you can flip it over and use the other side, or if you have to completely redo it, you can without having to tear apart your whole card to get it back off of the card to redo it. So, okay. Now, I just have a couple of little, I don't know what you'd call it, but it's where the edge kind of sticks up after you cut the edge. It happens a lot when you have really sharp blades and really dull blades, and all you have to do is take your bone folder and go over them. It flattens them right back out. Okay, so now I have this piece where I have a little bit of gold foil, and then I have this cute little piece. Let's glue those together. And just a tiny little bit of an edge. You know, I like my little 1/16 of an edge on my cards, just like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue this stamp piece down. And I'm going to line it up just like so. I want my corners, I want to make sure I don't go off the card, but I want them to go right up to the edge of the card. So stuck it on just like that. And then now I have my little banner, and there is kind of a trick to this. There's a few different ways you can do banners, but I'm going to show you this one tonight. So this is my, I don't think it's Lovely Label Tag Punch, but off the top of my head, let's see if I can come up with a name for it. So I'll look it up in my handy dandy catalog. And this particular punch, did it retire? Oh my goodness. I didn't think it retired. Well, holy cow, it did retire. Okay, so, well, darn it. I'm still gonna use it now to do the edge of my banner. Darn it. Okay, so basically what I'm doing, if you already have this punch, this is how you can use it to cut a banner. So I just went ahead and stuck it in part way, like this, right? So it's not all the way, it's just part way, and it cut just this edge and made the banner. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same with this one, let's hope these line up right. Yep, there we go. And I'm just going to glue them together just like so. Okay, so I can't believe that this retired. I thought I'd pulled all my retired stuff out. Gosh darn me. Okay, I actually forgot I'm going to be trimming part of that off. So put some adhesive in there so that I know that it stays even after I cut off the end. Okay. Just trying to straighten it out a little bit. Okay, now I want it to come over the edge of my card a little bit. I only want it to go to this edge right here where the pink is. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, I want it to be, you know, about that long. So I'm going to get my trimmer. And I'm just going to cut off about this much. There was no real precision to the length of that. And then I'm going to just stick it right there, okay? So let's go ahead and glue that down. And just line it up with this pink edge here. Just like that. Now, in my little bag of goodies, I have, well, you know what? I didn't show you the stamps and the dies that I'm using. Let's do that. Okay, so inside we're going to stamp a little message using the Happy and Heartfelt sentiment set. This is retiring at the end of June. So I really do recommend this stamp set because it's got these nice small messages. It's got a fun font and there's so many of them. There's 15 different messages. It's a great deal. And then I also use the Amazing Frames dies to do my little word of thanks. And with this, you get one die that gives you kind of the background color there. Let's see, part of my little K is still showing. Oh, and my S too. The little pieces that come out, the little dams. And I might have to take your pick tool with that one. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's the background. And then this die right here. Welcome, Kay. Thanks for joining us. This die right here gives you the finer detailed thanks, so you can layer them. So let's go ahead and put a little glue on here. If you have a hard time limiting the amount of glue you put on and you end up making a huge mess and that drives you crazy, I really recommend our adhesive sheets because what you do is you stick it to your paper before you cut out the word, and then you run it through your die cut machine, and it basically turns your die cut into a sticker. And then it just sticks right on for you, and you don't have to worry about getting glue all over when you go to lay it down. So, and it's nice and quick and easy. I just don't use it as often as I should because I forget about it. Okay, put a little glue right there. And I know I got a little too much right there on my end. Okay, now I'm going to use my silicone sheet again because I know I got a little too much glue in some spots and I don't want to make a huge mess on my work surface. So what I do is I start with the last letter and I just start kind of shifting it around to make sure that it's lining up the way that I want it to. And that's another reason why it is kind of nice to use the liquid glue, because it gives you a little wiggle room. It's still wet and it'll move. Okay. Oh, Marcy says she labeled her dies wrong. I have so many sets of dies that I've labeled wrong, but then I can't handle it and I have to go back and fix them. Nobody else would ever know or notice, but it just, you know, a part of me dies inside, so I have to fix it. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and glue this down onto our banner. I keep setting down my glue and then losing it. So, little glue here. Little goes a very long way, so you really don't need a whole lot. But I do understand the compulsion to put a whole lot of glue on there. Okay, so I'm just going to line this up like this. Kind of want it to be centered there. And now, not last but not least, let's do the inside first before we do our bow. Oh my goodness, you guys, you know what I just did? Did my card upside down, but I'm going to show you a little trick. So I'm going to peel this up, and it is going to kind of destroy the paper that's under it, but if you're careful and pull it toward the center when you are peeling this off. And the reason for that is because then as it tears your paper, it's going to tear toward the center and it'll be covered up when you lay it back down. Okay, so another miracle product that is out there is called Undo. You can get it at any craft store, and I Love Undo. It's a kind of a oily sort of liquid that you kind of get it under the edges, and it causes your adhesive to lift. And even though it's kind of oily and wet, it doesn't damage your paper in any way. It's really cool. Okay, so make sure I'm doing it the right way this time. I didn't even check that. Can you imagine if I'd done it wrong the second time as well? Okay. Lay that down right there. Now, let's go ahead and stamp our message on the inside. The message I chose, being awesome is just your thing. I thought that went nice with the thanks. So let's go ahead and get Night of Navy ink. Okay. And I'm just going to stamp it in here. Now I'm going against what I just preached to you about stamping before you glue down your paper, but that's because I forgot to stamp it and I ran a big risk of making it ugly. But it worked out okay, so it's all good. All right, put this ink pad away because this is a nice dark color that I would lay down into too easily. Now I've got my 2 little strings of white baker's twine, and I'm just going to tie a little bow. I'll use my bow jig just because it's quick and it's easy. And these are easy to make. I say this not having ever made one myself, but all you have to do is take a block of wood, and then these 2 holes are 1 inch apart, and then it's a 1/2 inch to each additional hole. And then these are just finishing nails, so there's no head on them. So if you have somebody in your life who does any kind of woodwork or anything like that, they can make it pretty easy for you. Again, I say that not ever having actually made one. Okay, so I've tied my little bow. Take it off my nails. See, and mine also has little holes in the end to put the nails away when I'm not using it. Now I'm going to take a glue dot and lay my bow right down on the glue dot there. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but I'm just laying the little knot of the bow right on my glue dot. Push it in well. And by the way, I forgot to mention the drawings that I did at the drawing that I did at the beginning of this class. The way you get your name in that drawing is just participate in the conversation. Even if all you do is say hello, tell me where you're from, you know, short and sweet, that's okay. But it's a lot of fun when we get some conversation going. You can ask questions about what I'm doing. You can ask questions to each other. You can discuss amongst yourselves some things if you like. But I just like seeing the conversation go. It just makes it a little more lively. So by all means, participate in the conversation. If you're watching this as a replay, either on YouTube or on Facebook, go ahead and leave me a message anyway. Let me know you were here, and your name will also go into the drawing. So you don't have to be watching this live to get in the drawing. So now I'm just going to trim off my little edges here, my little tails. Someone needs to clean my scissors off, I think. Okay, someone. I'm not going to ask my assistant to do it because he just eats stuff. Oh, thank you for the hearts. Oh, what do I have? Okay, so Marcy asked what I have around my glue dot roll. I'll show you here in just a minute. So here is our card finished. You could put a few little embellishments on there if you wanted. I was afraid it was going to be too much to have embellishments on there as well. Okay, I have to trim this a little bit because these are just a little too long for me and stuff like that bothers me. And okay, there we go. I feel better now. You guys feel better? I feel better. Okay, so card number 1 is done. Okay, so what I have around my roll, I just took a little bit of baker's twine and I tied it around the roll itself, and just a knot, nothing fancy. I used retired baker's twine, so, you know, it didn't matter, and tied it around my roll so that it's not constantly unrolling itself in my little bin, because, see, I have this bin of all of my, the stuff that I use all the time and I want to have easy access to. So, I've got my glue dots, but in my bin, it would just come unrolled and then the dots would dry out or stick to other stuff or whatever. So, so Kathy says she uses ribbon on her rolls. So that works well too. Whatever, it can be anything. I mean, you could use one of those little twisty ties from the grocery store, actually, if you wanted. Welcome, Tracy. Thanks for joining us. So anyway, so I just pull this back as I use them, and it's on there loose, so it moves really easily as I pull the paper back. So that's what I have on my glue dots. Okay, so card number 2. For this card, I used the Stylish Shapes dies, and this is a great little set. It comes with 6 circles, 5 squares, and 4 banners. Love this set. And then I'm also using my Celebrate Sunflowers stamps. I'm going to be sad when the day comes that they retire this set, because I just think it's so easy to make some simple but really stunning cards. I've seen other people, some of the cards that they make that I just never would have even thought of. I've just, lots of great things. So this is another stamp set that you need to get. Okay, so with this one, let me show you the card we're going to make. This is it. And it's kind of different because I've intentionally made the image a little bit blurry. The technique is called faux watercolor, and it looks a lot different. You can do it on our regular white cardstock as well, and it looks very, very different, but very, very cool. But I kind of liked how it turned out. I used our watercolor paper, and I liked how it turned out, so I thought I would show this to you. Maybe another time I'll show you the technique with the basic white cardstock. So I've got all my little pieces here. My basic card base, half a sheet, 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So let's crisp up that edge. Okay, now we've got the envelope, so let's go ahead and decorate our envelope. And on this one, I'm going to stamp. So I have the smaller sunflower stamp, and I am using the Mango Melody ink. And I'm just going to stamp, oops, first I want to take, somewhere here I had a piece of scrap paper. No idea where it went. Fortunately, I'm a hoarder and I have a whole bunch of scrap paper, so that was easy to resolve. Ah, I just found my scrap paper. Okay, so stick my envelope in there, and so that all I have is the flap. That way I'm not going to stamp on the other parts of the envelope. And I'm just kind of stamping everywhere. Okay. And you know what I think would be cute? I didn't do this on my original one, but I'm going to do it now. I'm going to put one on the front of the envelope as well. Ta-da! Okay. That was your little musical interlude there. Now, move all my scrap papers out of the way. And clean off my stamps. Stamp. Because we're not going to use this stamp again. So we might as well clean it. All right, so now this does have a lot of different pieces to it, but it's pretty simple. Let's go ahead and do the inside. I have a sheet of basic white. I also have a strip of Daffodil Delight and a strip of Mango Melody. Use a little bit of my liquid glue here. Well, that was really cool what I just did there. Okay, let's see here. Just a tiny bit of glue, a little goes a long way. And one of these is longer than the other, but we're going to trim it down so you really could set the shorter one anywhere. I choose to just do it up against the edge, and then I only have to trim one edge. So whatever's easier for you. Okay, now let's go ahead and glue this piece onto, oh goodness, I did it the wrong measurement, so we're gonna do it down the side of our card. Okay, I'm gonna just line it up with the edge of my paper there. Kind of wiggle it around to make sure that it's straight. And then cut off the extra here. Okay, let's go ahead and glue this to the inside of our card. Marcy says these colors make her heart happy. Well, I'm glad I was able to make your heart happy tonight, Marcy. Okay, so now I'm just going to line this up in here. I saw on your live today that you tried my trick of lining it up, Marcy, to lay it down and hopefully get somewhat straight margins. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put away these other pieces for now, just to keep them out of the way. Again, this is a piece of our white watercolor paper. I point out that it's white, but it's the only color it comes in. So now with the watercolor paper, there's a couple things you want to know. One is that you want to get the paper pretty wet, okay? That's just kind of the nature of watercolor and how it works. You know what, Mary? I didn't stamp this one on the inside. Oh, I did. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Thank you for the reminder. I hardly ever stamp inside my card. If I, a lot of times I leave it for room to write. And look at me. Today I did it twice and forgot both times. Okay. I think I'm going to stamp off a little bit just so, whoops, so it's not quite so dark. There. So it's just a little bit of a something on the inside. Okay. Thanks for keeping me honest, Mary. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, put this aside again. I've got my watercolor paper and I want to get it nice and wet. So I've got my spritzer here and you can get it wet this way. You can also use our water pens. I can't remember what they're called. To just kind of, these have water in the pen. And I'm doing this just to kind of spread all the water around, okay? Then I'm going to take I'm actually taking the pale papaya and I'm going to stamp the big sunflower now. So I'm going to ink it up, okay? And now I'm going to spritz it a little bit, kind of light. Okay, and then I want this to line up this way. I'm going to do it off kind of to the side a little bit. Now all that water makes it bleed like that, and that's perfectly okay. That is what you want. So I'm going to let it kind of bleed for a minute, and then I'm going to help ease it along. So I'm just kind of tipping it so that water causes it to bleed some more. And I'm getting this color to spread out. Now I'm going to take my brush again, and I'm just kind of going around the edge like this. And it's pretty much getting rid of that image, and that's totally okay, because this is just going to be sort of a background color for us. Okay. Now I'm cleaning off the brush just to get that extra color off, because now we're going to move on to another color. This one I'm going to use the Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp it again. My paper is still pretty wet, and that is okay for this. At this step, I'm going to go ahead and stamp it over where I did it before. It doesn't have to match exactly. Okay. And see how it's starting to kind of spread out a little bit there, but not quite as much as the last time. That's what you want. Now I'm going to take my brush again, and I'm going to just start kind of going out from the middle. Let it move around on your paper a little bit. By letting it just kind of flow like that, what it does is it makes it so your edge doesn't look like a brush stroke. It just kind of naturally starts to lighten and blend. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. No, I did not have alcohol in the spritzer, Tracy. It's just pure water. Aqua painters are what the pen is called. Thank you, Marcy. These are aqua painters. And in my spritzer, I just have plain water. See how that's really starting to blend out? Now what we're going to do is take the heat embossing tool. If you don't have one, a hair dryer works just fine. Charlie's my favorite, Talina. He is my favorite. And not just because his name's Charlie. Okay, so this can get kind of loud. Like I said, if you don't have one of the heat embossing tools for this, you can just use a hair dryer. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and dry the paper. And the paper dries pretty fast, actually. Oh, yep, Phineas is coming to help now. Any minute now, you'll probably see his little nose. You can see the shadow of his nose in the corner there. He's a great helper. Said no one ever. He wanted to see what was making that noise. Okay, now we're going to go back to our Mango Melody. It's a cute little nose. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go... Get down, dude. Okay, hang on. I have to pick that up before he eats my scissors. He's just the right height that he's figured out that he can put his front paws up on my desk and look at what I'm doing or eating or, you know, whatever. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp. I'm going to ink up the stamp with the Mango Melody. For a minute there, I thought I had the wrong color. And I'm going to go ahead and spritz my paper just a little bit this time, not quite as much as I did at the beginning. And then I'm going to spritz my stamp just a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to stamp right over that other image. Again, if it doesn't line up perfectly, it really doesn't matter. Now let that start to spread a little bit. I might even actually like this one better than the first one. Okay, so now, oops, this didn't clean up so well. I'm just kind of letting that spread a little. Now what you can do if you want it to be more of a faded sort of look, just go over it with your painter as much as you see fit to do. You can also spritz it a little more to get it a little bit wetter. And you're just going to do this really to the amount that you like. There's no specific amount to do. And I'm just letting that run a little bit. What I'm trying to do is I'm doing this really lightly because I would really like, I don't want it to look, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I don't want it to look like a definite line where I swirled it or anything. I want it to kind of blend in gradually. And it will blend in more as it dries because it'll soak into the paper. The watercolor paper is great for soaking in your ink or your water. One thing you want to be aware of, if you do decide to do this on with the basic white, it doesn't absorb the water quite the same, and it will cause your paper to buckle. So what you can do is take a piece of cardboard, or if you have, why can't I think what those are called? The little clipboard. Yeah, clipboard. And tape down the edges of your white. It'll help keep the paper from buckling. So we're going to dry this off again real quick. It'll dry even quicker this time because there's a lot less water on it. Did you bring me another toy, Phineas? Okay. There we go. Okay, so now, I want it to be a little drier than that, just because if your paper is wet, the adhesive doesn't stick quite as well. No, Tracy, I used different colors for each level that I did. I went from lightest to darkest. I used Pale Papaya, then I used Daffodil Delight, and then I used Mango Melody. Okay, so now, someone said they're going to be doing this tomorrow. Marcy is. Oh, good. I can't wait to see what you do. Make sure I get to see it. Okay, and Tracy says me too. So both of you guys, you have an obligation now to show me what you do, because I love seeing other people's ideas and takes on things, and all, as you know, as we all do as demonstrators, right? So now I'm going to go ahead. Whoops. See, it's a little wet, so the adhesive kind of pulled my paper off. So you just want to be careful there. Okay, and I am mounting this onto a piece of Mango Melody, which is really funny. Mango Melody is probably one of my least favorite colors that we have. I'm just not an orange girl, but I love how it makes this card pop. Now, let's go ahead and, oops, can't glue that down yet. We've got our little pieces here. Let's go ahead and stamp our banner, just to get that taken care of. So again, I'm using the Mango Melody. And I'm using the sentiment that says, thanks a bunch. And I'm just stamping it right here in the middle of the tag, or the banner, whatever you want to call it. Clean off my stamp. I just realized that my camera is now all cattywampus because of my lovely assistant and his nose. Oh. I prefer the seal. Marcy asked why I prefer the seal over the other. I like it because I just think it's quick and easy. Also, I feel that the liquid glue takes some getting used to. So for new stampers or people who aren't used to using the liquid glue, it's really easy to put too much on and then your paper buckles and you won't like the finished look of your card. So the seal just works well. And I prefer the Seal Plus just because it is a stronger adhesive, and so I don't have to go back and forth between Seal versus Seal Plus when I want a stronger one. I've just got it already. Okay, so now I have this little banner. I'm going to cut it in half. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to mount it behind the other banner. So I'm just going to line it up here, just right there in the center, like so. And I'll do the other one, like so. I guess I want it up just a teeny bit more. So it's sticking out both ends like that, but not a whole lot, just to give it a little bit of something, something. Talina, I've gotten to where I'm able to use the liquid glue on the bigger pieces now, but it took me a long time of trying and working with it to figure out what was the right amount of glue to use. And how much pressure to put on it to get that amount. So it's really just a matter of playing with it. But yeah, for a long time, I didn't even use the liquid glue because I didn't like that it always made everything buckle. Okay, so now I've got some of our gold trim. And a little tip I'll give you with the gold trim is just run it through your fingers like this a couple times before you use it, because it holds its shape really easily. So it's been sitting on a tube basically to be stored, right? Like this. So you can see how just that little bit rounded it. So it won't lay quite right, and it acts kind of funny when you first take it off the spool. So I just play with it a little bit and then it's fine. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little bit of tear and tape, just a little piece, and I'm going to glue or stick this down on the back of my card piece. Maybe. Okay, so just like that, right? And then just wrap it around. I think I made it long enough. I thought I made it long enough to do this 3 times, but apparently I only made it long enough to do it 2. That's fine. We can go with it. A little bit of tear and tape again, just to tape it down. There, just like so. I'm with you, Talina. I always feel like there needs to be another color. And even when the dies are nesting, sometimes I feel like the bigger one is too big and it looks weird. So I like to do just something little like this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my dimensionals and put them on, let's see, make sure I have the right end here. Put them on the back. Tear the backs off. There we go. I'm just kind of pushing this over a little bit. Stick this guy down. Actually, I'll wait to stick it down until it's on the card. That'll give me a little more wiggle room. So let's go ahead and glue this down. Make sure I'm putting it on right side up this time. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to take my banner and just go to the edge here. Oops, it's a little bit crooked. Fix it, fix it. I get so hung up on whether or not it's crooked. I mean, like even if it's just like a tiny bit crooked. My ex-husband used to say that he would never hang pictures in our house because I could be at the neighbors and smell that the picture was crooked. Okay, so there we go. That is card number 2 with our cute little stamped envelope. And that is the faux watercolor technique. What do you think of this one, you guys? Oh, that would be really pretty with Christmas trees and snowflakes. Yes, it would. Oh, and you know what else I forgot? I forgot to put some opal rounds. These are the 2021 to 23 in color opal rounds. Get my take your pick tool. And put, we'll put one there, and what did I, see what sizes I used. Okay, now I'm going to take this smaller one, just put it right there. I have it on my take your pick tool, kind of weird. Okay, and then let's do one more, another small one, I think. We'll do it right, how about there? I like that. Ta-da! See, another musical interlude for you. You're welcome. Okay, thank you, Marcy. Marcy says, just gorgeous. Okay, so there we have it. That's that one. Let's move on to number 3. I'm sorry if I'm in your way, Phineas. Okay, so this one, I used the stitched rectangles, and then I also used my hand-penned petals, as well as Go-To Greetings. This is new in the new annual catalog, and this is kind of fun because it's saying it's Go-To Greetings. It's greetings you would use a lot, but in 3 different fonts. So let's move these to the side and show you what we're going to do. This one's pretty easy, quick and easy. So again, stamped envelope, and this is the card. Nice and simple, right? And there's the inside. So let's see here. Again, just a basic card base. Thank you, Robin. 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. And now we will get the edge nice and sharp. Okay. Oh, let's get our envelope going. All my little pieces here. So for this, I'm using my Coastal Cabana ink. I'm going to open this up. I'm not sure how you missed it either, Marcy. But it is a nice, I like it because of the fact that it's all the different fonts in one set. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this is the flower from the hand-penned petals. I'm going to use my scrap paper again. Okay, and I just stuck my finger in the, ink it up, and then I'm just kind of randomly stamping it around my envelope flap. There we go. Clean off my stamp. I'm dropping stuff again. And I'm just cleaning my stamp with my chamois. I want to get all that Coastal Cabana out because we're going to be doing a different color on our card. Okay, so I'm going to move the envelope out of the way, close up my ink pad. Actually, I'll go ahead and leave it. I'm going to be brave and leave it open. Even though, well, I am going to use it first, I guess. And I didn't need to clean it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing on the card front as we did on the envelope, actually, where I'm just going to stamp random. When you are doing this kind of stamping where you're just kind of stamping random like this, it's always a good idea to start in the middle and then stamp around it. And then that way you don't end up with a big chunk of space with nothing in it. Now in this case, if the middle is, empty and there's some extra space, it doesn't matter because we're going to be covering it. Let's see, how do I want to do this? There we go. So now I've just got that all over the card. The main purpose for doing that is it just gives it some background texture because like I said, we're going to be covering most of it up. So clean off my stamp. There's still a lot of Coastal Cabana in there, so I'm just going to kind of try to get in to get those little spaces cleaned. And I'm using my chamois, my Simply Chamois, to clean my stamp. This is like the world's most awesome stamp cleaner. If you have not used one before, you've got to try it. If you're used to the Stampin' Scrub that we've had forever, you will be, I guarantee you'll be reluctant to try something else because you love your Stampin' Scrub. That's the way I was. But I finally gave in and tried it, and I love it, and I hardly ever use my Stampin' Scrub anymore. Okay, now what we're going to do is set this aside for the moment. Let's do the inside of the card really quick. So for this, I've got a tiny little strip, and this is from the Abstract Beauty paper that I used at the beginning. The back sides, no, I guess it's not all of them. There were a couple that were black and white. So okay, so I'm just going to glue this onto my basic white. Like so. Oh, it's nice and crooked. It was very slippery. That indicates I had a little too much glue on there. Trim it and trim it. Oh, that was ugly. There we go. Better, all better. Okay. And you know, I think just for funsies, I am going to take, I have a blender brush, and I'm going to take a little bit of this ink right here, get some of the extra off of my brush, and then I'm just going to come in and glue or color over it just a little bit, just to give it a little bit of color and dimension. There, just like so. Then we're going to go ahead and glue this to the inside of the card. Okay. Line this up on the inside. See, it just gives it a little bit of color. I don't even know how well, yeah, you can see it on the screen. Just a little bit, so it's not that stark white. The inside of this one is the stark white, so you can see the difference here. The one with just a little bit of color versus the one with no color. It doesn't add a whole lot, just a little something. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do the front of our card. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue down this piece that I'm using. And it is, there's my adhesive. And I think I'm just going to stick it right about here. Like so. And then I have two pieces of basic white, okay? One is just slightly bigger than the other. It's 1/8 of an inch bigger on each side. I'm sorry, like, if I line it up like this, you can see it's 1/8 of an inch taller this way, 1/8 of an inch wider this way. So it gives me my 16th inch border that I like. Now it seems kind of odd, I know, to have a white on white border, right? But here's what we're going to do. We're going to take my black Memento ink, and now I'm just going to stamp all over my piece of white, just like I did on my envelope and just like I did on the Coastal Cabana layer. Oh, I don't like that it did that. That's okay. We'll get that part covered up. I mean, with the photopolymer, I almost said polyamorous, the photopolymer stamp, you can kind of line it up, but I don't know how well it would do it. You know what? I'm going to give it a whirl, you guys. I'm going to be brave and I'm going to give it a whirl. Because even if it turns out badly, we can cover it up. Look at that. I did it right spot on and on camera. Okay. Let's see. Kathy noticed the paw and the nose. Yeah, the paw and the nose tend to make an appearance on this show multiple times. Okay, so now what I'm going to do to add a little color is I'm going to go around the edge just like I did on the inside of the card, okay? So get a little color on here on my blending brush. And then I'm just going to start swirling it around the edges here. And I didn't add a whole lot, just a little something. There. Close up my ink pad because I'm a danger to myself with open ink pads. And now I'm going to go ahead and mount this onto that white background, and it's going to pop right off of that because of the fact that I put that color around the edges. Yeah, polyamorous stamps. You know, words are hard sometimes. But it does kind of make you wonder what I was thinking about, that's what came to mind, right? Yeah, you and me both. Okay, so see how that pops right off of that white? Isn't that awesome? Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and glue this part onto the card. Oh, I lied. First, I'm going to tie my bow. First, I'm going to tie the bow. So I have a little bit of our pool party ribbon, and I figure out which way I want this to go. I think I want it to go the flower that way. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring this around and tie a bow. I should have given myself a little more ribbon. I mentioned this before, but if you give yourself permission to waste a little bit of ribbon, make your bow, you know, so that you've got a little more than what you actually need, then your bow is just a lot easier to tie. And I know tying bows is frustrating for a lot of people. So now I'm just kind of fiddling with my bow to get it the size I want it. Da, 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 da. Get down where you belong. Okay. That's kind of loose, which I can fix here in un momento. Let's go ahead and trim the tails a little bit. Okay. So there's my bow. Now, good when your bow is, when you wrap it around like this and it's a little looser than what you like, easy way to fix it is cut it, then take a little bit of tear and tape. Well, welcome, Tammy. Thanks for joining us. And yes, you are welcome to watch the replay. You know, Marcy, I love Coastal Cabana too. I think it's so pretty. There's another demonstrator that I like to watch, and she says Coastal Cabana is the way we know God loves us, or it's the color that tells us God loves us. Okay, so I'm just pulling this around and tying it, but what it's doing is it's pulling my ribbon just a little bit tighter so it's not loose and limp. So I cut it and then I pulled it tight, and then I used my tear and tape to tape it into place, and there we go. Of course, now it's crooked. See if it's straight now. Now it's straight and it's taut, and all is well with the universe. Okay, so I have this little tag that I used my stitch rectangles to die cut them, die cut it out. I'm going to use my black Memento ink, and I am using the thank you stamp. Tammy agrees. Whoops. Okay, so now I'm going to stamp it kind of toward the edge of my rectangle, just because I want that, oh, poop. I want that bow to overlap a little bit. So let's do this side. I rocked my stamp and I got that little edge there. Now I got a little bit of it right there too, but because it's such a small amount, I can take my sand eraser and just erase it off. Maybe. If not, it'll be covered by the ribbon, so it won't be a huge crisis. There we go. My sand eraser got most of it off. This is not something that Stampin' Up! Sells. I just bought mine on Amazon. Okay, now let's start putting this card together. I just dropped my stamp and it landed right in the garbage. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit of my foam adhesive. And the reason, these are the foam adhesive strips. I like these for this kind of thing. Let's see here. Because I kind of want the ribbon, I don't want my adhesive to get bulky because it goes over ribbon. So by doing this, I can straddle the ribbon pretty easily. There we go, just like so. Peel the release tape off. And I'm going to kind of put it under my bow a little bit like that. Maybe have it stick out a little bit more. And I probably should have glued this down first, just because it would give me a better idea of the spacing on my card. Oh, but I live on the edge. And I'm going to line this up here. See, now my tag is just a little too far over. So I'm going to lift it up carefully. Did you hear that herd of elephants that just ran into my office? Yeah. Okay. Make sure it's straight. There we go. My bow kind of covers up that little boogered part. And there we have it, folks. Ta-da! Card number 3. So let me go ahead and clean up my mess here, and then we'll take a peek at what we created tonight, and then I'll let y'all go. Probably go to bed, right? It's getting close to bedtime for a lot of you. And just a reminder, in case you are on now but got here late, I have Robin's address, Marcia Colbert, Colleen Fitzgerald Buttery, and Tina Meadows. I have prizes for you, but I don't have an address to mail them to. So if you will email me at stamphappenings@gmail.com or send me a private message here on Facebook with your address, I can get these in the mail to you. Okay, so here's what we made tonight. Here's our little black and white with the coastal cabana that we made. We have our sunflower card that we did with the faux watercolor technique. Then we also have this fun little card that used the Abstract Beauty paper, designer series paper, and the amazing frames dies. So here you go. This is what we made tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed what I had. Hey Kim, welcome. I'm glad you could pop on, say hello. If you get a chance to watch this in the replay, I did some fun techniques tonight. If you liked what you saw, I'd love it if you'd send me some hearts, give me thumbs up. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can subscribe to my channel. I would love that. You can even click on the little icon of a bell. That will give you notifications when I update new videos. I always upload this video to YouTube when we're all done here. If you would like to place an order, I would love the opportunity to earn your business. You can order at heathersides.stampinup.net. If your order is under $150, if you would use this host code, I'd really appreciate it. It helps me continue to provide these videos for free, as well as the door prizes that I give out. If your order's over $150, please don't use the host code, because you will have some freebies coming to you from Stampin' Up, and I want to make sure that you are the one who gets them. So again, if you like what you saw here, share it. Share the video on your Facebook feed. I think that you never know who in your feed might be interested, and I really appreciate the shares. That's what helps me grow my business. So I hope everybody has a great week, and I will see you back here next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time.